I'd like to keep the meeting moving right along and jump into the next conversation. Earlier I talked about the rec center, the golf course, and the park and rec district being among our, in my opinion, community strengths. All three of these organizations are really important community assets, and I believe it's very important that we protect those assets and also to pursue opportunities to raise those assets to the next level. And here to talk about that tonight is a longtime resident and a very dedicated community member, Mr. Lynn Shore. He's going to talk with us about some of the opportunities that we have. Lynn?
Thank you, Keith. Well, thank you. I used to have the chance to address the residents of the community quite frequently, but it's been many years. It's nice to be back with you and see a lot of familiar faces. Didn't say friendly, just said familiar. See you out there. While my highly trained assistant is getting set up here to run the slideshows for me, I want to make sure that everybody knows that because of his significant contribution to the community over the years, that the Parachute Battlement Mesa Chamber of Commerce presented Mr. Lammy with the Person of the Year Award this year, and I would like you to appreciate him for all of the stuff that he does in our community. Am I tied to this thing, or does it have some leeway? Here we go. Okay. There's an old Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times. And I think that we live in some very interesting times right now. We have a lot of good things going on in the community, as Keith has pointed out. We have a new flower shop that has opened up that's down in the, we call it the South Plaza, Mary Lee? Southgate Plaza down in Parachute. We have a business, a canvas sewing business that's growing within the community, providing services to the oil and gas industry. Pardon me? And to the Broncos, that's right. They did all of the elevator covers for the new Bronco Stadium. Yes, thank you for that. We have a new church that is in the planning progress. It would be up above the assisted living facility. Just in the discussion stages, we have, of course, a state-of-the-art medical center. Am I under a micro or the speaker there? That's just been built in the community. It's fantastic. I hope everybody's had a chance to go over and see that. And I think that we have two more opportunities to continue the growth of our community and to address the direction of our community. I want to talk about those with you this evening. Now I realize that some of you over here may not be able to see these slides, so I won't read to you, but I will give you some of the numbers that are going to come out of here. So we're going to talk about give me the next slide if you would, please. We're going to talk with you about the transfer of the Grand Valley Recreation Center, of course you're sitting in it, to the Park and Recreation District. I'm going to talk to you about the transfer of the Battlement Mesa Golf Course to the Park and Recreation District. Now, everything I tell you this evening is proposed and preliminary. Proposed and preliminary. Because this is an ongoing discussion. At the moment, the Park and Rec District has inspectors looking at this building and also looking at the golf course. They're doing their due diligence, as they should. And we have some proposed numbers, but those numbers may change. The whole deal may fall apart. Who knows? So I want you to understand that there are no handouts, because I don't want any written material out there, because these are proposed and preliminary. So if they change, please remember I said that, and Keith has it on film, so I can go back and defend myself. Okay. Next one up, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Then I'm going to discuss the financial impact, because that's really what you guys are interested in, I think, as much as anything. There's an impact to the residents who live and own property inside the Battlement Mesa PUD. There is a different impact to residential owners who are within the Park and Recreation District, but outside of the Battlement Mesa PUD. The Park and Recreation District has a boundary similar to our fire district. It is not as quite as big, but very similar. It goes from Mesa County over to Rulison. It goes up Highway 215 to the north, and then to the south of us, through the Wallace Creek area and so forth. And then we have commercial property owners. They're assessed at a different rate, and so whether you're in or outside of the PUD, there is a separate impact. Okay, let's talk about the Grand Valley Recreation Center. The proposal is simply to transfer the asset to the recreation district. There are no fees or costs involved in this. And as Keith pointed out, we are very, very fortunate that we were provided this building and this facility at basically no cost to the community. There is no debt involved in this structure and hasn't been for many, many years. This transfer is consistent with the service plan of the Park and Recreation District. That's what they were designed to do from the beginning, was to provide recreation opportunities for our community. It will use their ability to collect a mill levy, which has to be approved by the property owners in the district. So everybody that is in the district gets a chance to vote on this. The current funding is primarily from $205 per residential lot within the Battlement Mesa PUD. That provides sufficient funds to operate the center as it operates today. We have what we consider reduced hours, and we're closed on Sundays. And in the past, the community has spoken very plainly that they were not willing to increase that. I have no angst about that. That's the community's choice. That's what they want to do. We'll function that way. The problem we run into is that we can operate it, but we really can't improve it. We can't put in a water slide. We can't build a, what was that golf course thing, Dan, that you wanted? Oh, the Frisbee golf course. We haven't been able to put new roofs on it when we needed it. Fortunately, we've been able to get funds from the federal mineral leasing grants that have come through, and that has been a lifesaver for us. Without those, we would presently have a leaky roof. We wouldn't have some of the carpets that we've done. We have a new truck to replace the old green tractor that some of you may have been familiar with. And so we've been fortunate there, but those funds are not necessarily always going to be available to us. So we need to have a stable, reliable funding mechanism. Excuse me. So, the 205 under this proposal in preliminary suggestion would go away. The 205 would no longer be assessed on the residential properties within Battlement Mesa. We would spread the cost of operating and funding the system, including capital improvements and capital repairs, across a broader population that is within the Park and Recreation District. This also would allow then everybody within the district access to the center, where now if you live in Parachute or Wallace Creek or Rulison, you pay $300-400 a year, correct, Ann, to come to the activity center. That you would now have access to it at some substantially reduced cost. I don't know exactly what those costs would be. There would still be an activation fee and some other fees associated, but it would be substantially less than the $300-400 that is now being charged. Oh, back up for me, would you please? I had another thought I wanted to throw in there and it went away. Okay, so that's the basic proposal, and I'm going to get into some proposed numbers here in a minute as soon as I go through the golf course side of it. But from this standpoint, just a quick recap: free to the recreation district. I know the point was that the recreation district is eligible for grants and those kinds of things, just as the Metro District is. So they will still be able to take care of or take advantage of the federal mineral leasing grants and other similar kind of grants. So we're not getting rid of that. It still has that opportunity. Okay. Now, golf course. I think most of you know that the golf course is owned by the Battlement Mesa Company. It has been since its inception. Again, the proposal is to transfer that asset to the Park and Recreation District at a no-fee basis. Again, it is consistent with the service plan of the Recreation District. That's what they were intended to do. It includes all water rights, which may be more valuable, frankly, than the golf course. They have water rights out of Battlement Creek as well as out of the Colorado River to irrigate the golf course. Did you have a question? It looked like Dave has a question. No? Okay. Will you scroll that up? What's it say? Oh, it says ensures local control of the asset. If you've lived in the community for any length of time, you may well have heard rumors. I've heard them over the years. The California conglomerates coming in to buy the golf course. At one time, it was a Japanese consortium was coming in to buy the golf course. And the fact is that the golf course could be sold to some outside entity at any time. It's just a matter of money. Everything is for sale. That has not happened, of course. But this would assure that the golf course, which is a significant asset to our community, just as the activity center is, would stay in local control. That the people who live here and who pay in the taxes would have control over it. You would have your 5 members of the board of directors of the Park and Recreation District. And I'm sorry, I should have started by saying that Jason Fletcher is president of the Park and Recreation District. He's in the back. And where'd Mary go? Mary is here. Mary is the district manager, so they're also here. So they're making sure I'm giving it straight to you. Okay? So, local control. Okay. Similar situation with the golf course. The Battlement Mesa Company has sufficient funds to maintain it, to keep it in pretty good condition, but there just isn't any funding, especially at this time, for the capital improvements that have to be made to any kind of major asset, whether it be buildings, new irrigation, making sure the greens are correct. I'm not a golfer, but I hear them complaining about the sand traps. Are they pretty bad? I see. Yeah. If you like playing on concrete, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. So those are things that need to be done over the years, not only just now, but into the future, to make sure that it is maintained as a high quality golf course that attracts people not only to live and to do business here, but to visit from other places. I know golfers that travel all over the country, literally, to play golf. Where's Chuck? Is Chuck here? Chuck goes every place. And he's in California, and he's in Florida, and he goes everywhere. So we want people to come here too, and if we have a high-quality golf course, that will bring people into it. I say it may reduce the cost. I don't know that for a fact, but it has been talked about since you have a tax base that there is the potential. That decision is made by the Park and Recreation District Board of Directors, and they will make that decision once everything is in place. They know what the mill levy is and if the community has approved. Okay. Let's take a look at the individual mill levies. Should I explain mill levies? Is everybody pretty comfortable with how it works? Your house is appraised, and if it has a sale value of $100,000, then you have an assessed value, which is the amount that your mill levy is assessed on or you're taxed on. And for a residential property, that's 7.94% of your assessed valuation. Commercial property is assessed at 29%. That's called the Gallagher Amendment. Somebody in their wisdom said that commercial property should pay more than residential. So these are proposed and preliminary. For the Park and Recreation District, and it already has current funding. It has a mill levy already. It provides football and tennis, and I don't know, Mary could certainly tell us. They have lots of activities. They're going all the time, year-round, and they need funding to do that. So that still continues. A .683 mill levy would generate for that activity about $300,000. This is roughly what they're getting now, maybe a smidge more from the last numbers I saw. The Recreation Center, a 2.050 mill levy would generate about $900,000 to operate and run the center. Now, that would be in addition to the activation fees, the room rental fees, and all those things. So the total budget for the center will be significantly more than that. I didn't bring those numbers with me, but let's say it's $1.2 million, $1.3 million. So you have money to operate, and you have money to do the capital improvements and the things that need to be done. The golf course, a 1.82 mill levy, would generate about $800,000, and again, that would be in addition to the greens fees and the cart fees and the other things that go along with it. So the total operating budgets in each case would be above what you see here, but this is what the tax mill levy that's proposed and preliminary would generate. Next one, please. I'm going to walk through these individually. If you own a residential lot in Battlement Mesa, with a home or without, it doesn't matter, and the market value is $100,000, based on the mill levies we just looked at, $16.32 a year is what you would pay in taxes for that. Then you see it'll go up at 200 is $32.64, and a $300,000 home is $48.96. That's for the recreation center. Move on, please. Golf course at the proposed mill levy. $100,000 value in your home or your lot, $14.49 is the tax that you would pay. And then it goes up to the $43.47 at a $300,000 home. Next. Recreation operations. Same mill levy, $100,000, home $5.44 annually, and then up to the $16.32. Now let's put all those together. The bottom one's going to be cut off, but let's take a look. If you are outside of the PUD, it's all addition to you. It's an additional tax. There is no reduction. So it would cost you a total of $36.25 if you have a $100,000 property. If you have a $300,000 property, it's $108.75 to fund both the activity center and the golf course. Now, if you live inside the PUD and you've been paying the 205, which goes away, you now have a savings of $168.75. At $300,000, you save $97.25. So that leaves your money for the school district. Okay? All right. I did a quick calculation. The break even on this is about $520,000, give or take. So if you have a $500,000 home, you're still going to come out on a break-even basis if you vote for this. And I think, commercial, thank you. Commercial property, doesn't matter if you're in or outside of the PUD, but commercial properties get whacked pretty high, and in these districts, just as in the school district, oil and gas assessed valuation is going to be 80 to 90% of the total valuation, and they cover the major part of the cost. So if you had a commercial property of $100,000, it's $132 a year additional, and at $300,000, it is $396, call it $400 a year additional that you're going to be paying as a commercial property owner. Commercial property is never paid into the activity center, so there's no reduction in your cost. Okay, that's pretty much my story. Yes, ma'am.
I live down in Englewood, Colorado. We have a recreation center in the city. Each person that wanted a recreation color, they would pay $3 a person, and they would go get their picture taken with the color. That would be for the recreation center, but then when they would go, they would have to pay, like for swimming, that all individually. And then they had a golf course where they got a special rate and stuff for the people that work within the recreation center. Can't we do something like that here so people can afford to go to these things?
Well, okay, her statement is, and was this in Englewood, ma'am? Englewood. They had a pretty low cost to go to the recreation center and into their golf course. I guarantee you that's taxed supported also. Those fees that you were paying would not support that facility. You were also paying property taxes to it.
Well, I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes, ma'am, absolutely, and that is the,
And where everybody would have a card, it's open to the whole Grand Valley now. They could come and get a card, you could have cards made up with their pictures on it.
yes, they do here, yes.
And then they could pay so much for swimming or.
Yes, that's exactly how it runs here.
And then you could give a special rate to the people that golf down to the golf course. We can't even afford to go to the golf course.
Well, that is something that the Park and Rec District can take up if they own it. If the, what she's saying is that we could provide a much cheaper golf course.
You would probably get a lot more participation.
Well, of course you would. If it's half the price, it's going to get more participation. That's understood. And all those things are possible if it is a publicly owned golf course. It is not possible when it's privately owned. So that's why I think there's an opportunity here to move it from private ownership into public ownership so that those kinds of things can be done. Yes. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
So what happens if oil and gas revenues reduce or gone?
If oil and gas assessed valuation goes down, the revenue into these centers would go down at the same time. That's true of any tax-based organization, whether it be school district, fire district, whatever. If your assessed valuation drops, then the revenue drops at the same time.
And then you would have to raise the fees.
And then, you would have to perhaps raise the fees to get in. The taxes could not be raised again without a vote of the public. That's the Tabor Amendment. So you know that you've got a specific mill levy that has been set, but there maybe have to be adjustments to the recreation fees that you come in or the golf fees. Absolutely true. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
We have covenants that say you pay $205.
Yes, ma'am.
Those are the actions voted on separately, change that.
I think that would be part of the ballot language, and I'm not an attorney, so we would have to have our attorneys look at that. But that is the proposal, that fee, the 205, go away, so that you're only paying the taxes that we just talked about. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Doug?
Two questions. I gather from what you said that there was no additional increase in the cost of access to activities.
Okay, the question is, would there be any additional increase in cost to access the activity center? And as far as we are looking at this point, absolutely not. No.
And would this transfer be up to the vote of the PUD residents?
This transfer would be up to the vote of everybody in the Park and Recreation District, not just the PUD. Because that is, that district and the people that are in the district, which includes you, are the people who would be shouldering the burden. And so they have the right to vote on it. Okay? Is there another question, or did I get both of them? Got them all? Okay. Yes, sir.
Will the school district's mill levy be tied into this Parks and Rec?
No, they are
That's going to be totally separate.
totally separate. The question is, will the school mill levy be tied into these? They are totally separate ballot issues. There is no connection whatsoever. Good question. Good question. Yes, sir.
If this thing is passed, and it means everyone within the taxing district can have unfettered access to that business.
And the question is, if this passes, everybody within the recreation district would have access to the activity center. That's absolutely correct, just as they do now. Have we looked at how many people that may be? Not possible. The population of the Battlement Mesa community is somewhere around 4,000, 4,500. Town of Parachutes, another 1,000. If there's an additional 1,000 people out there, do you have any idea, Mary, what the population total of your district is?
Not exactly, but we're doing the board of directors Valley Fire and the Park and Rec. And the registered voters are there's 3,000 in both our districts, 300 just for the Grand Valley. So they'll have 3,300 ballots going out. We'll have 3,016. So the registered voters will be about 3,016 unless we have a mad rush of people to get registered voters.
Okay, so, if we had, keep in mind, this center was originally designed for a community of about 15 to 20,000 people. So the potential for being overrun, I just don't think it is a potential at this point. Okay, any other? Yes, Eric.
What's the proposed timing? Say it again, timing of this occurring.
This is going forward to be placed on the November 2014 ballot. Good question, excellent question, yeah. 2014 ballot in the general election in November. Yes, ma'am.
When you have it on the ballot, the registered and separate golf course,
The question is, will these be two separate issues on the ballot? So you could vote for one and not for the other? And the answer is, I don't know that. That is a decision to be made by the Park and Recreation District Board, and to my knowledge, they have not addressed that. But it is a very valid question. I just don't know how they're going to approach it. It could be either way. It could be one and one, or it could be take them both or nothing. And I don't know how the board wants to approach that. But it's a good question. Did I say another one? Okay, you've been very patient, and I thank you for your attention and for your questions. There will be more meetings. This isn't the end of it. Once the boards have done all of their due diligence and everything is set, then there will be additional meetings and additional information sent out to the community. Thank you very much, and thank you, Keith, for the invitation. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Lynn. I think it's a pretty interesting proposal. I don't know whether it'll move forward or not, but as Lynn said, I'm sure there will be many additional meetings, so you have more opportunities to understand this better and explore it further. But we wanted to introduce this to you as early as we could so that you'd have a chance to think about your questions and understand the proposal before it's time to vote. In wrapping up tonight, I would simply like to thank you for your attention. I'd like to invite you to help us, as it says on our little brochure here, build a better community, expand the economic base, and serve you, our members. And with that, I would like to open this up for any questions that people have. Right here. The community trash dumpster is in the town plaza over by Clark's.
If you're looking at the budget and you're talking about the trash dumpster, that's a simple, single trash dumpster for the contractor that picks up trash off the streets and the trails. It's not open to the public.
Okay, other questions? Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming.